Today I have this little black and white television. It's a General, someone's kindly written the model number on the back, GC122, because the label looks like it's gone walkabout. Unfortunately that doesn't tell us where it's made, and I'm in two minds about whether this is just a Samsung clone or an actual General or something. Oh, it's got GC122 on the front as well, so that helps. These used to be quite a common thing. They're a 12-inch screen, pretty much all these tubes are identical I think, and the vast majority of these TVs that probably still see around were made by Samsung, and they just had 20 different brands on them or something. But this one is somewhere, can I see through the bottom? Yeah, still can't really tell. If it's a Samsung, I think part of the board's missing, but so I think it's a different design. It looks like it's got that corner missing. Can't remember what the story was with this, but I thought I'd grab a couple of these little TVs because I used to see a lot of them around. They were never about, I think they're about $120 new back in the 80s and stuff, and most people didn't bother getting them fixed, but I used to get a few old ones and fix them up. That's how I learned some of my TV repair skills. I was playing around with these things and spending 2 hours fixing one or something, and then you'd get like $10 for it. But you learned a hell of a lot. So switch it on and see if it does anything. Well, there's sound, sort of. And here comes a raster. Probably works fine. A lot of them kept going, but you did see the odd problem in them from time to time. I know some of the ones I fix up, there's even things like faulty IF cans and stuff causing lack of video, and so they're actually quite useful to learn a bit of stuff on, what some of the weird symptoms were and what caused them. I mean, they'd suffer from things like, you know, the usual broken 12-volt socket there. People just use them for caravans and that sort of thing, shacks. I mean, if you just wanted a cheap TV for a shack that you could leave there and no one's probably likely to steal it, this is the sort of thing you had. But you know, a lot of people did use them on actual 12 volts. If you had a campsite somewhere or a shack that you could get TV reception but had no mains power, and in caravans, that sort of thing, because, you know, portable colour TVs then were even smaller than this usually. They did make, like, General actually made a 14-inch version in 12 volts. Because I remember the TAFE college, I spotted one going in the dumpster. Like, it was sitting outside the guy's office, and so I asked him if I could have it. And that had a busted picture tube in it, but of course I knew that I could swap tubes around and get it going, so I got that one up and running. And that was worth quite a bit of money back then, though, because it was the dual voltage one. But the 14-inch in 12 volt was pretty rare. I think General might have made one of the only ones early on. That was a twin rotary tuner one from memory. Can't remember the model number. It's got an NEC tube in it and lots of cobwebs. I think NEC did make their own ones. They were made in Japan for a while and then they all went to Korea. So I'd say this is not a Korean one. Almost looks like someone's bogged up the lopped a bit there. Might have been arcing a bit. Definitely NEC made in Japan. New Nippon Electric Company Limited. So it's NNEC. 310 GMB4. But yeah, well, like I say, all these tubes, little thin neck things, all pretty much compatible, I think, and the same with the amber and green screen tubes you find in computer monitors and all the like, and closed circuit TVs, if the system monitors, if they got the same size tube, they're normally all the same. I think some of the earlier ones just had a band around them, like that clamped down to hold them, whereas this one's got the tabs on the corner of the tube. Sometimes those would be different, I think, to where they mounted. So there were a few little variants, but it was mainly the earlier, like even Australian made TVs and stuff. I think they had the bands and stuff, and maybe the Samsung one actually had a band. I think the Samsung ones might have. They might not have had these tabs in the corner, which are basically placed in and the rim band holds them on. It'd be interesting to see a Samsung one again. I do have a chassis out of one here somewhere, but I didn't take much notice of the tube or anything because it had a busted tube in it anyway, so I just salvaged the chassis for the hell of it, because they were such a common thing once, and chucked the rest away. But yeah, nice little chassis in here, that's another thing, these controls on the back, vertical hold, contrast, brightness on this. Sometimes they had a horizontal hold sticking out, they'd get broken sometimes. Was another thing that used to go wrong with them. I'll get this chassis to come out. Why you hell the pot. No, that was another thing that played up the pots. And this one's a little noisy, so I might give this one a clean. Yeah, it's got an NEC UPC 1368. This is VIF there, so I can see this actually got a saw filter in it. Yeah, definitely not a Samsung. They're a bit cruder in their tech. This has actually got like a saw filter instead of an IF. The audio's over there, so that's just transistorized. That IC's got a heatsink out the end of it, so maybe it's sync and stuff as well, or just video, who knows. Yeah, I don't really recognise much of this chassis. They've normally got this, you've got your power socket in, 12 volt regulator on a heatsink there, which regulates from the inbuilt transformer here. Don't know if it has to regulate much from the actual, if 12 volts is put in there, but there's always a TO220 transistor, it seems, in these things. The vertical's probably another pair of those. Oh, there is another IC here. I was going to say there must be something else. I wonder if that's the vertical output. They've actually got a transistorized one. Here you've got your horizontal output. And a lot of these, for some reason, had a bipolar capacitor there, electrolytic capacitor. This one's 3.3 microfarad, 25 volt, which coupled, I think, the horizontal to the yoke from memory. And I know things like the Wise 50 or something computer terminals, they used to have the same sort of thing, yoke coupled, because I know the caps used to go in them sometimes. And yeah, so a lot of computer monitors and stuff was all pretty much similar little circuits in a lot of the computer terminals, the computer monitors, and these TVs. Not an awful lot of difference in them often. And of course that's another thing, the tuner in these can get bad contacts. We'll give that switch pot, the pot does the switch on off, as well as the volume, if I can get to it. I'm not sure I can get some contact cleaner in. I can go in from under the front, I think. Can I? There's a cap right where you don't want it. Yeah, if I go behind the terminals, I think that should get it. Give that a clean. The old headphone socket doesn't look the best. It might be a bit tarnished and horrible, but I don't think anyone's going to be using that ever again. I guess we'll hook the pattern generator up and see if we can at least tune that in. But yeah, it's kind of cool to see inside one of these again for me, just because I haven't seen one for so long. But like I say, I think you got the occasional one, maybe still in the early 90s and stuff, that people wanted fixing, but generally not. But you could still, like I say, sell them for about $10 or something. There was always a market for them, because they were still selling new then, I think. Probably, definitely through the 80s, possibly into the early 90s. Maybe they weren't so much for sale, but certainly people could use them. And they're a handy little bedroom set or something. If you didn't care about it being in black and white, it was better than nothing. If you didn't have the money to buy something better, I must have forgot I was going to buy a new one of these Ballons, because mine are a bit rough. Not that you use them very often these days, but I must have forgot to order one. Unless, actually I think there's, maybe there is one somewhere, it's in a box somewhere I think. Get a feeling I did actually order a new one. But these were a very common fitting, this 75 to 300 ohm Ballon, and those other ones, those double ones, because a lot of colour TVs came out with 75 ohm for UHF and, sorry, 300 ohm for UHF, 75 ohm for VHF, or they had two 75 ohms or whatever, so you had these crazy contraptions that separate it into two bands. So you've got two 75, 75, 300. You could also get them with two 300s, because I think they actually assumed people were going to put up two different separate antennas, and maybe in some areas you might have had to point them different directions. I remember buying hundreds of those adapter things to put on second-hand TVs I fixed up to sell because it wasn't much use having a twin socket on the back. So I used to buy quite a few of those things. Oh, we've got some interference here. I forget what channel it is, 3 or 4 I think this comes out on. Oh, good audio. 3 I'd say. No, turned it right off. And of course these old tuners, you've got the inner bit that does the fine tuning. The outer bit is the clicky bit. Inner bit does the fine tuning, and we could certainly do with some more brightness there, which is on the back here somewhere. That's plenty of brightness there, but look at it. Ooh, that one's a bit scratchy. Normally I'd view them at fairly close to full contrast, but ooh, we've got something. Oh, that's the pattern generator. I must have a look at that because it's flickering a bit, but that's it. I think with full contrast and close to full brightness, it is full brightness and full contrast. If we turn the contrast down a bit, that's actually a little low on the brightness, that one, because I'm getting that other band up. Do we have a sub brightness or something? We've got an 11.5 volt adjustment, vertical in, vertical size. It won't necessarily have anything else, to be honest. I can't see any other pots at all. So that might be all you get. Sometimes I think they had a sub brightness in some of these things. Doesn't look like NEC or whoever made this is going to give us one though. There's definitely a dry joint in that pattern generator somewhere. But yeah, that's a good enough picture. I guess we can try a few other patterns as well. Blank screen. Yeah, it's a bit too bright on that with the contrast. So it does have enough range, I think. If you don't have the contrast flat out. Go away. So pretty much your standard little 12-inch television. There is another one there somewhere. I think a Philips one. I might dig that out and have a look at it as well. But anyway, that's that one for now. So thanks for watching.